game of inches, and they could have easily scored. But again, when the situations presented themselves, we did what we needed to do to secure the victory, and that's really what it's about. This 19-7 is in the history books, and nobody can take that away from this group.
Can you tell us about the next challenge? Who do you get the next couple of weeks, F.A.?
Yeah, so we have Grand Rapids Union on the road again. Okay. So we got to get ready to take another long road trip this next week. So, after we get done reviewing the film today, we'll put this game in the past. We'll start getting ready for Grand Rapids Union. They're a program that's coming off a 37-0 win over their crosstown rival, Ottawa Hills. They haven't had a lot of success as of late, but we don't take anybody lightly. I know we only beat them 7-6 last year. They're going to be big. They're going to be tough. They're playing a tough conference against Muskegon and Mona Shores and, those heavy hitters out west. So, we know that they're going to come in and they're going to be ready to go. And we have to be prepared to go out and execute the same way we did this past game. And after that, we got Grand Ledge, and I think Grand Ledge is one of the best teams in the Lansing area. They got a lot of talent that's coming back. They have a pretty experienced line, from my understanding. They beat us up quite a bit last year. So, that one's at home and is our home opener. And so, I'll focus on Grand Ledge a little bit more once that time comes. But those are our next 2 weeks. And our guys are excited. It's been a long time since our program has been 1-0. 8 years, I believe. And we're looking forward to keeping the thing going. It's very hard to win a football game. I've said that in the past. I remind our guys about it. And so, regardless of what happens, things not being perfect, the reason why we had 19 is because we missed 2 extra points. So we got that stuff to clean up. But it's hard to win a football game nonetheless. And we did that. And, we have a very solid foundation to build off of moving forward.
I know you were so focused on the opener and getting off to a fast start that you really hadn't thought about Game 2 until after Game 1 was over. But you know the last time that Okemos started 2-0?
I have no clue. I gotta go back and look at the stats in the history book. I should have probably prepared for that one before I came on, huh?
Well, when you talk about stats, I want to talk about your quarterback, a very familiar name in mid-Michigan. And I don't know if he throws the ball as well as his dad did. His dad did throw for 400 yards against Michigan in 1999. But can you tell us a little bit about a terrific opening performance?
Yeah. Blake Burke is a kid that, he's been with me for a while. I've seen him grow up from a little young pup to a great young man. And he still has a lot of growth to go through, which is the beautiful thing. And so he's put in a lot of work over the off season, getting extra throws in, working on his mechanics, working on his feet. After every summer workout, I see him going to the field and grabbing receivers and just doing everything he can to have the best senior year possible. And he does have a solid father to look up to and ask questions to when he needs that support and he needs that help. And his dad Bill he's been great. He's supportive of everything that we do. I remember watching him when I was a little 5-year-old, not really understanding the game, but enjoying the game. And so it's kind of cool to be able to coach Blake and He threw for a career-high 254 yards. He started off a little sluggish, kind of had those first-game jitters. The ball was sailing on him a little bit. By the time we got to our second drive, he settled in, and, I think after our second drive, he probably only threw a few incompletions the rest of the game. He had a 75% completion percentage, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. So by far the best full, complete game of his career. And, I'm excited for what he can continue to do the rest of the season.
But when I see Bill, I'm going to tell him that Blake's performance probably better than any of his season opening games. And Blake wasn't throwing to Plexico Burris and Gary Scott and handing off to Cedric Irvin. So, that was a terrific debut. Last thing for you, F.A., I have to tell you that my son is probably the biggest Okemos fan in China, in Beijing. And, of course, he was a captain of the 2004 team, and he keeps saying, when is Okemos going to be back? And so, he still thinks of it as another nickname. But I told him about the game last night, and he was really happy. So, maybe the fan base for Okemos in Beijing will start to grow.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm extremely grateful for the support that I do get from our current families and community, alumni that have stuck with us and continue to support when things weren't great. We're starting to see some of our hard work over the years in the weight room and developing kids on and off the field, mentally, physically, emotionally, in all the ways. Starting to see that come to fruition. And, it's a cool thing to see. It's a cool thing when I take a step back and look at what's going on. It's definitely a cool thing to see, and I'm glad that, I get to play a little bit of a role in all these young guys' lives and their growth and development.
Football is not an easy sport, as you know, F.A., but in many ways, I think it's the best sport. I think it is the best preparation in terms of team sport, the bonding you get, the we mentality. Nobody can do it alone in football, and I think that's part of what we all need every day. Thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it, ducking out of your team film session. Congratulations to all of the teams that began their season with a win last night, and to all the teams that will get that win next week. We'll be right back, and I'm going to head over to Comerica with my friend Marty Makinen. Boston Rob will take it from here with Jay Greene. Be right back on The Drive with Jack.
Dean Transportation is looking for compassionate people to join our team of school bus drivers and attendants. Visit deanjobs.com to see all openings. Dean Transportation provides paid training to obtain a commercial driver's license, increased starting pay, comprehensive benefits, and flexible schedules with no weekend shifts. No experience needed. Apply today at deanjobs.com and train for back to school season. That's DEAN jobs.com.
Just minutes from Petoskey, Harbor Springs, and Mackinac City, golfers will find Northern Michigan's hidden gem on Maple River Road in Brutus, the Hidden River Golf and Casting Club and Travato Restaurant.
The course offers one of Northern Michigan's most memorable golf experiences, and Travato completes your day with exceptional dining. For tee times and dinner reservations, go to hiddenrivergolf.com.
That's hiddenrivergolf.com.
Jack Ebling here with my good friend Matt Sloan at Graph of Okemos. Hey, what are Metaglasses?
Jack, Metaglasses have been a game changer for our service departments. They allow our technicians to record a hands-free recorded inspection of your vehicle. We then send the video to the customer's phone for them to view and see exactly what the technician saw. The video shows everything from tread depth on tires, oil leaks, loose parts, or simply that your vehicle is in great shape and doesn't need anything at this point.
That's the trust factor you get with Graph of Okemos.
So, it's been a while since you've had your jewelry cleaned and inspected, right? Where will you go and who will you trust with your most valuable and treasured heirlooms? At Meadowar Jewelers' 4 locations in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage, jewelry isn't just our job, it's our passion. Each and every piece entrusted in our care is thoroughly inspected by our trained staff against damage or normal wear. And we offer you, our customer, the highest level of quality on repairs and custom designs. Whether it's worn out prongs, channels, or shanks, it's all handled with incredible care. Meadowar Jewelers in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage want to help you preserve your memories and offer you options on creating new ones. Come in today for the cleaning and inspection of your jewelry. We continue to work hard every day to earn your confidence and trust.
Meadowar Jewelers.
Every girl crazy about a shot as me.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Drive with Jack. It's your favorite masshole, your favorite producer, hopefully, Boston Rob Bennett with you, and I can guarantee you that ZZ Top classic is not for me. It is the man that closes out the show every Friday for us here on the Drive with Jack. As a matter of fact, I'm going to say it's the Drive with Jay Greene right now. Jay, that song was a long-distance shout-out to some fans of yours, many fans of yours, that they demanded that we have on the show with you, because as always, you got the green and white going on. How are you, buddy?
I'm great, Rob. How you doing?
I'm doing well. 1 week from tonight, Jay, can you feel it? Can you feel the excitement? Football is literally right around the corner.
No, I definitely can feel it. Anytime you get this close to it, it's almost like it's really here. Like, I feel like the game is going to be tonight. And before I continue, let me just say, Jackie, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. I always appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you in a month or so. But thank you.
Indeed, always great to see the Nesses, right?
Yes.
Indeed. And for people that are just listening on the podcast, I know Jack does this routine with you now when you come into the studio.
Yes.
As you are representing the green and white, the Spartans, as you always do. And I got to say, a Spartan Dog for Life sweatshirt, right?
Yes.
Got to have that.
Yep.
But, man, I like the dark green. There's so many different color greens that we've seen the Spartans have over the years, right?
Yeah.
But, man, I dig the darker kind of green like you got going on the sweatshirt. Of course, you got the white, and then you got the dark green hat with the logo.
No,
man, looking good, man. Looking good.
I appreciate that, and I think the interesting thing is what people don't realize is how hard it is to keep up with what green we have at the current time, because we, like you said, we went through so many different ones. So to try to find an actual green that works is a process in itself. But I'm doing it, Rob.
You are doing it. Now, everybody has like their favorite logo of the Spartan, the Gruff Sparty, right? Or this the kind of helmet Sparty like you got on your hat right now. Mm-hmm. Did you as a player, or now as a fan too, what was your favorite kind of Spartan logo as it has evolved over the years?
I like them all because Gruff Sparty is kind of what I grew up on, and then it evolved into what it is now. So I like them all. I think, they all represent the same thing, and that's, what I'm about. So I like them all. I like the Block S. I like the Gruff Sparty. I like the new Sparty. So I'm just a Spartan through and through.
That's it. Well said, my friend. Well said. Well, as we mentioned, football about literally a week away. And as a fan, you said how at the beginning of this, you said how excited you were. It's right around the corner. But I want to go from a different aspect from you because you were a player on a team. And now as a young football player, a week away, you've gone through all the practices through spring. You're going through fall practice. Now you're starting to implement the opponent's game plan, right, within this next, if not already, within this next week for sure. As a young player, as Jay Greene, take us back to that excitement level now that you're really honing in on an opponent and just not playing each other.
Well, I think it starts with, kind of, it was a little bit different for me because when I first got here, we were on quarters, so we would be 2 games into the season before students even come back. But I think nowadays one of the big things is like this week was welcome week, and you see all of the students,
sure,
getting into the dorms, and I think that that's kind of a sign that it's here. That's where the excitement comes from, is the students being back, and the streets of East Lansing are filled, campuses filled, and you just start getting that feeling. So for like me, I liken it to somebody getting ready for a performance. Like you've had all of these rehearsals and all of these walkthroughs and everything, and now you just want to show everybody everything that you've been working on, and that's where the excitement comes from. And that's kind of where, at this point, with a week left, that I feel like that's kind of where the guys' minds are, because now you start to focus in on an opponent as opposed to, generally in camp you just kind of doing, routine stuff, but now everything is opponent-based. So that's kind of the big thing that changes.
You talk about excitement. That's been the word surrounding Pat Fitzgerald since he got named, right, the head coach of the Michigan State football program. And boy, excitement, and you can use any adjective you want in a positive way, and just how exciting he is. Is there a cautionary tale of maybe getting too excited? And as players, when or if do you tone that down in a moment or two just to take a deep breath, especially leading up to a home opener, which is going to be, just out of this world itself?
I don't really think, trying to control your emotions, we get excited as fans who are going to watch the game. So just imagine being somebody who is actually going to be performing in the game. So that excitement is a whole different level of excitement. But trying to control that is a hard thing to do, and I think that it really don't get under control until you kind of get that first contact and that first hit out of the way, and then you kind of calm down. But again, I think these guys are very excited to show all of the work that they put in, and to also show that it's a new day in Spartan football, because we know the last few years haven't been, good for us. So
right, you said a new day, and I want to go back to Pat Fitzgerald and the way he coaches and the style he coaches and his coaching staff with that excitement. And this is I want to see if you agree with me on this. This is something new, really, for the Michigan State football program, especially over the last couple of years. Even going back to Mark D'Antonio, wasn't really an excitable guy in that aspect of lighting your hair on fire, going out there. He had his own excitement in his own way. I'm not trying to cut down any of that, because he's a Hall of Fame coach, no question about it. They should build a statue for him at Michigan State, no question about it. But he went about it in a different way. And Pat Fitzgerald way is kind of a new, I don't want to say maybe fresh of breath air that maybe a lot of Spartan fans aren't used to seeing from their head coach. Would you agree with that?
No, I would totally agree, but I think it shows that, people have different ways of getting things accomplished. Like you said, Coach D was kind of, I feel like, more reserved and not as energetic as Coach Fitzgerald, but he still got the job done. And the thing about Coach Fitzgerald is it's all genuine. Like, that's just who he is, and I wouldn't want somebody coming in here, portraying something that they're not. So I think that, again, I feel like we finally got the right guy who can lead us for years into the future, and I think that's something to be excited about.
How excited are you for the new AD?
I'm very excited. I actually listened to his interview with Jack yesterday. I mean, whenever it was that.
Yep.
I think, I listened to it yesterday, but I think the interview was a couple of days ago.
Right, it was earlier in the week.
I just kind of liked the things that he was saying about, embracing all of the donors, not just the top level donors, his responsibilities, and I feel like he kind of has the same energy that Coach Fitzgerald has, and I think that that's something to be excited about. On top of the fact that I feel like he really wants to be here, which I feel that's the biggest thing for me, is that he wants to be here.
I mean, he even mentioned it being a destination job for him, right?
Yeah,
and that's what you want to hear. You're a Spartan fan, no question about it.
That's really what you want to hear, because that means he's locked in, and I feel like athletically we are in a good place. We have, I feel like, a good football coach. Basketball has been what it's been for the last 30 years. Hockey is in a good place. Women's basketball is in a good place. We got a women's soccer team that's ranked in the top 5. Like it's just a very good time. So the fact that we have an athletic director now that I feel like can elevate us and push us forward, I think is a great thing.
Getting back to Coach Fitzgerald, if we could for for a second, I feel like he has, being away from the game for the past couple of years, in the college game anyway, on the sidelines as a head coach, don't you feel, and this has been mentioned a number of times on this broadcast and other broadcasts, but man, he's got to be excited to prove to himself. He's got to have that chip on the shoulder, and that's right up Michigan State's alley. Right?
No, I agree, and I think that that's something that we need to get back to, is having that chip on our shoulder, and in my mind, just embracing being a bad guy, because at the end of the day, they're gonna always portray us that. So I think that when you embrace it, it don't look as good when people try to portray you as that.
All right, I'm going to mention a name. I know you've been to practice many a times, and I want to mention a name. A lot of people are excited to see what he is capable of. And that's the running back, Cam Edwards. What can you tell us about that? What have you seen from him that gets you excited?
So when I've been to practice, I really haven't seen a lot of him. Generally, there's a lot. I've seen a lot of special teams play because I'm not out there for the whole practice. So I see a lot of special teams drill, but I've heard a lot about him. And then, I mean, when you look at what he did last year, you have to be impressed. So I'm excited to kind of see, because we know, the last time we actually had success, we had a very good transfer running back leading the way. So I'm very excited to see what that may look like, and if he is what everybody is saying he is.
And it's the old adage, and no matter how much this game changes, and this game has changed over the generations, but man, you have to run the ball. It sounds basic, but boy, and I feel like Pat Fitzgerald, will get that back to Michigan State, being able to run the ball, smash mouth, just the old adage, pound green pound, right? Running the ball. I'm excited to see what this offensive line, I know you are, really excited to see what this offensive line can do, because I do think it's improved. And seeing what these running backs, just not what Cam Edwards was able to do, but boy, if they can move the pile, I mean, I don't have to tell you, Jay, that's just such a momentum shift.
No.
Again, and running down your opponent, wearing down your opponent, so when in the first quarter you get maybe 1 or 2 yards, those same runs in the fourth quarter might get you 8 to 10 to 12.
No, and I liken it to if you just kept taking body shots from somebody, eventually, you just gonna kind of give in. And the old adage is, if the team that controls the line of scrimmage will generally be successful. And I think I like our chances. I think that we're a lot bigger and better on the line. And what I always go back to is to the top, and people really buying into what the head coach's vision is. And I feel like that's one thing that has really changed, as everybody around there has bought into what he's selling, and I can't wait to see the result of it.
What group are you most excited in seeing on? Because there's going to be a lot of players in and out, right? I mean, this is the first game of the season. You're going to see a lot of players, depending on how the game goes, obviously. But the goal is to get in as many players as you can in all of the different positions. So on offense, what group on offense are you most excited to see? I'm going to say, I'm going to guess, but I'm going to let you say. And on defense, what group on defense are you most excited to see?
On offense, I think it goes without saying, the offensive line.
Yeah.
With a close second, I'm curious as to what this receiver group is going to look like. That is one thing that I'm very curious about, because I think there have been a lot of questions in the offseason, because we lost a great receiver in Nick Marsh, and trying to figure out how you're going to replace that has been a big question. And, we have guys there. They just haven't had a lot of opportunities. So the receiver room is the one that I'm very interested in, but I always feel like the offensive line is the most important and the one that I'm excited to see, because, again, they haven't had a lot of the success in the past couple of years that we've had previously. So I want to see us get back to that. And we also brought back one of the Allen brothers to help with that, and he was here during those years when we had great offensive lines.
And defensively, what group are you most anxious or excited to see?
So again, it starts on the line.
You got to go line.
I'm curious to see if we can get pressure on the quarterback because I feel like that's going to be a huge thing. Of course, stopping the run is always first and foremost, but I feel like us being able to get pressure on the quarterback is going to be huge, and that starts again with the D-line.
You know what I'd like to see, Jay? I'd like to see, and I know it's a lot to ask because I do feel we're going to see a lot of different players at a lot of different positions, right, in and out of this game. But I would just like to see relatively clean football by Michigan State, right? I'm not saying zero penalties, but in certain situations, right, making the right play. And for young players to not be afraid to make a mistake. I think I really want to see them just go with their instincts, and if a mistake happens, learn from it, don't make it happen again, right? These sort of things, fundamental football, we hear that a lot, but man, I just want to see as less penalties as possible, clean football, and let some of these young players actually make some mistakes, but learn from them and kind of follow their gut and their instincts more than overthinking things. Does that make sense?
No, it definitely makes sense because the less mistakes you make, the more chance you actually have of winning. And again, I feel like that's something that has been preached with standards and just doing things the right way around the program. And I'm excited. Like I can't express how excited. Like if I could play.
Oh, you'd be out that tunnel. I know it.
Seriously think about it, Rob. But at this point, I don't think that's gonna happen.
All right, what's going on this weekend? The weekend before we got week 0. I shouldn't say football's here. High school football, as you know, Okemos just with a big win last night. We just had the head coach on with Jack Ebling. But what's your plans for this weekend? Are you excited for week 0?
So there's actually a couple of games on tomorrow that I'm definitely going to partake in because it's just a sign that football is here. But for the most part, I'm saving all of my energy for next Friday, and I'm putting everything I have into next Friday. So I won't be doing much of anything but being at home and resting like I'm playing next week.
It's like Coach D'Antonio said. We're gonna let the tiger out of the cage right before game time. We're gonna let Jay Greene out right before game time next Friday night, right?
That don't sound good for Toledo.
Jay, thanks as always, not only for closing the show with us every Friday, but coming in here, man. We really appreciate you coming in here, being a part of YouTube. Wave to all your fans out there. You go. As we end the show, we appreciate you, brother. And I can't wait to talk to you next week as we get ready for kickoff next Friday night for Michigan State football.
No, I appreciate it. And Jack, you can't stay gone for too long because this seat really feels good.
I was going to say, you look good, my man. You look good. You look good, as always. All right. Thank you, Jay. I appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
All right. I want to thank everybody for joining us here today. I want to thank Jack Ebling for giving me a chance